5 questions for Grimbleweth. What exactly is a Whatsit?
Well, I am. If you ask a wizard, they'll tell you a Whatsit refers to a non-human creature of unknown origin, which I guess is true about me, too. I grew up in the arid zones, but I don't really know where I'm from.
How did you first get mixed up with ELM?
In a story both tragic and mildly embarrassing, I fear. You see, in my younger days, I was a wanderer, free as the winds of destiny. But one fateful day, I crossed paths with ELM in a tavern. Yes, even villains must quench their thirst, and in my infinite wisdom, I may have accepted a job offer under the influence of a pint or 3. He wasn't much to look at back then, mind you, and I thought it would be a temporary arrangement, fetching his mail, organizing his scrolls, maybe the occasional dastardly errand. But somehow, as these things often go, my role expanded, and before I knew it, I was knee-deep in villainous schemes. Not particularly good schemes, mind you. There was no grand fortress, no flaming eyeball, just a dank cave, and ELM himself was more of a lowercase Dark Lord than the real deal. There were moments, of course, when I considered walking away, but ELM had an uncanny knack for holding on to those who found themselves in his orbit. He wasn't entirely evil, just a bit, misguided.
Who is your hero?
You'd think a fellow like me, who's been around for ages and seen all sorts of heroes and fools alike, might have trouble picking just one. But I confess, I do have a personal hero, none other than Jackdaw the Wizard. Now I know, he's no perfect beacon of valor or wisdom. In fact, he's often more of a bumbling robe-wearing disaster than anything else, with that beard of his always trailing behind like some enchanted mop. But that's part of the charm, you see. Jackdaw has the rare gift of muddling through the worst of situations with a touch of wit, a heap of luck, and a healthy dose of improvisation. He's a master at making the impossible seem mildly inconvenient. It's not just his magical abilities that impress me, though they do come in handy when the world's about to end, which happens more frequently than you'd think in the Beandom. No, it's his sheer tenacity to keep going, to keep quipping, and to keep figuring things out, even when all he's got is a pocket full of lint and a half-baked prophecy written on a napkin. So yes, for all his flaws and occasional clumsiness, Jackdaw has a kind of indomitable spirit that I admire. And if a wizard like that can be a hero, well, then there's hope for the rest of us, isn't there?
Do you have any hobbies?
Yes, even a Whatsit like me needs a bit of distraction from the daily grind of villainy, mail fetching, and the occasional existential crisis. Over the years, I've developed a few pastimes that keep me out of trouble, mostly. One of my favorite hobbies is collecting enchanted objects, but not just any old powerful objects, mind you. I'm not talking about legendary swords or cursed rings. No, my tastes run a bit more, unusual. I seek out the odd and quirky, like, self-stirring teacups or the mirror of modesty, which only shows you a slightly worse version of yourself, no matter how dashing you really are. My prize find is a pair of shoes that always lead you to the nearest tavern, though they sometimes get distracted by random fruit stands. It's a bit like treasure hunting, but with more mischief. And of course, when all else fails, there's always wandering. After all, the world is full of curiosities, just waiting for someone like me to stumble into them.
What do you think the future holds for you?
In all likelihood, I'll still be wandering. There's something about the road, or the occasional enchanted forest, that keeps calling me back. After all, the world is vast, and the more I explore, the more curious things I find. Whether it's a town that celebrates its annual Trollmas by catapulting pies at each other, or a hidden library of books that rewrite themselves every time you look away.